Hello! Today is going to be such an interesting day. I just whipped out some point shoes and I started sewing and I realized that maybe I should vlog this because it might be interesting. Today I'm going to the studio to practice a little ballet. There is an upcoming project that I may or may not need to be dancing in. I'm gonna help choreograph something and I was like, gosh, maybe I should sew my point shoes and just try to get back into it a little bit. So I am heading over to the studio in about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna sew up these pointers and try to give myself a little bit of a class and choreograph a bit. So I wanted to take you guys along for the ride because it might be an absolute failure because it's been a couple years, or it might be fun to kind of get back and moving again. So I just wanted to give you that little update before we go to the ballet studio. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna finish sewing my point shoes and I will meet you at the bar. Not like bar, B-A-R, like drink bar, but like bar, like B-A-R-R-E. Okay, terrible pun. Anyways, I will catch you at the ballet studio. I have arrived at the studio. I'm gonna quickly put my hair in a little bun so that it's not all over the place. And then I'm gonna try some bar and maybe a little center and maybe throw the point shoes on and just see how it all goes. Again, might be a little bit of a train wreck, but kind of excited. It might be a little messy because I don't have really good bobby pins right now, but ooh, I feel like a dancer again. This is so wild. I really have not danced myself. I've taught quite a bit recently, but it's different to put your ballet shoes on yourself and kind of do it. So I'm gonna try to warm up, see how the whole situation goes, but it's gonna be fun. Oh my goodness. I have literally just done pliés and tendus and some tendus in 5th position, and I'm sweating. Okay, you wanna see something super gross? That's from my butt cheeks. Yeah. In any case, it's actually going a lot better than anticipated. I still have quite a number of combinations to do a bar. So I'm gonna finish up and then, oh, there's a trickle of sweat. Yep, all right then. Okay, well, I'm gonna finish up bar and then we're gonna move on to the center, and that might be a lot more difficult than bar. But yeah, I'm sweating like I don't know what I'm sweating like. Sweating like something. I don't know. So, as you may know, we are not in a studio anymore. Literally as soon as the time lapse had ended, my little sister came walking in the door and we got to talking and brainstorming and choreographing and dancing, and it was so wonderful, but there was music and things that I'm not allowed to show you yet. So I decided not to vlog and finish the vlog here at home. So with that being said, I thought it would be kind of interesting to share with you guys the reason that I actually retired from ballet. I think it's such a unique story for each individual person who, is a professional dancer and seeing their journey and why they end up retiring and X, Y, and Z things. So just for a little bit of background, I danced with the Los Angeles Ballet, as some of you may know, and I retired, gosh, 2.5 years ago now. 2 years ago now? It all just blends together. So there was kind of a number of reasons why I ended up stopping dancing and so on and so forth. I guess the instigator was my health, my physical health, my mental health, things like that. So to preface a bit, while I was in school in New York, I suffered from a terrible back injury. And although it got exponentially better, there were still some lingering things that would, pop up when I was dancing, depending upon the repertoire that I did. What would happen is my back would go into spasm a bit, and it's it takes your breath away and it's so painful, but it's just a muscle spasm. So as dancers, you're kind of just trained to push through it. So I remember this one vivid moment. We were doing the Four Temperaments. It was my first ballet that I did with the Los Angeles Ballet. Also incredible ballet. It's George Balanchine Ballet. Anyways, we were doing these grand pas, and all of a sudden I lift my leg up and it was like searing pain down my back, and it's like but we had a show the next day, and I was actually even filling in for another dancer, and you just have to do it. And as a new member to a company too, it's so hard to tell people no, you know? As dancers, I feel like a lot of people pride themselves in their resilience, if that makes any sense. You were just so excited for every opportunity you had to be on stage that regardless of what was happening to your physical body, you just did it. With that being said, another one of the big injuries that I ended up having, which I think really took more toll on my body than even my back a little bit while I was in the company, was I had terrible knee problems. Like literally trying to stand up was god awful. Like I would have to use both my hands and like wheel myself up. It was nuts. And this might be a little TMI, but when I went to the restroom, I would have to like hold the walls and lower myself down so that I wouldn't engage like my legs. It was terrible. So all of that to say, it got me thinking like, gosh, is all of this pain like worth it? And I just kept thinking about my future and how I saw myself. I'm like, man, I want to be able to hold it like my future kids. Like if my back is so bad and I can't hold my babies, like that is gonna ultimately suck. So there were those things. And the dance world as a whole is amazing. I really have not had terrible experiences with artistic directors or anything, but it's a lot for a young person to go into, just trying to figure out who they are, trying to figure out boundaries, trying to figure out how to say yes and how to say no. And I think it's hard, and ultimately, you know, you learn, but it's something that is not for the faint of heart. So all that to say, with kind of the injuries in mind, I loved my time with the Los Angeles Ballet, but I felt fulfilled in what I had done. I knew my abilities, I knew my talents, and I knew that where I was at was enough for me. And so, you know, when considering the question of retiring, I'm like, gosh, I've had all these injuries. I'm content with where I was, you know, in regards to being a professional dancer, that I felt a sense of like freedom to be able to say, you know what, I think it's time for me to retire. That was kind of a little bit of the reasons why too. And amidst all of those things, dancing wise, Jeremy and I were getting quite serious, ended up, you know, getting engaged a couple months after I had retired. And I felt like this was the next chapter of me, you know, growing into my skin of being a designer and being creative. And I knew that dance is always going to be something that I hold near and dear. And it's always going to be something that I do, whether it's teaching, whether it's dancing and things. But I'm just happy with where I am, and my body's not in pain anymore. And so yeah, so putting on my pointe shoes the other day and dancing at bar, it was so great to be back, and I felt like such a sense of, oh, I made the right choice, but also like, gosh, I miss this. Like moving across the floor, it just gives you this sense of like freedom and liberation. So yeah, it's fun. Maybe you'll see some more dancing in the future. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video. It was so fun. Stay tuned for more, and I'll catch you next time.